Yeah, it's back again for a review. I couldn't take it. I had to watch a horror movie. And actually, what I've done is, unless I've got some specific watching plan, I do random. I've got like 500 Blu-rays and DVDs that haven't watched in my unwatched pile. And so I just do random list and then whatever comes up. And well, guess what? A horror movie came up. So I watched Vinegar Syndrome's release of The Bees. This is a 1978 film, Mexican film. The director is Alfredo Zachariah. The mid-70s was crazy with natural horror, which is kind of a subgenre of horror films with kind of nature run amok type stuff. You've got animals and insects and Food of the Gods was out and Frogs was out. And of course, at some point you had to get bees. There's been actually 8 killer bees or horror movies about bees. I think the first one was in 1961. You had Mysterious Island. And then most recently, up until there's been a smattering of it. And then in 2008, there was a German movie about killer bees. Anyway, 1978 was a big year for killer bees because you had The Swarm, and then you had this movie coming out. Roger Corman was producing this or distributing it, and apparently what happened was Warner Brothers paid Roger Corman, and then he paid the director a lot of money to wait on the releasing this film so that it wouldn't obstruct the Swarm movie that came out. And The Swarm was a box office flop. So probably in the end of the day, what Warner Brothers paid Roger Corman and what this director got for holding off on releasing this film made more than what The Swarm made. The Swarm wasn't a bad movie. I liked it. I liked it better than this. This Vinegar Syndrome release is a nice print. It's a scan of the original 2K scan of the original 35 millimeter print. As far as special features, we've got a trailer, and then you've got an interview with the director of about 11 minutes, which was interesting because he talked a lot about his desire to make a film that was not gory. He's not a gore guy, even though I think he directed Demonoid later. He's not a gore film person. And there is no gore or blood in this at all. It's just a lot of stock footage of accidents, stock footage of people running around, and then you've got a swarm, or what appears to be a swarm of bees overlaid into the screen. You also have a lot of stock footage of airplane and helicopter crashes and things like that. So it's a very cheap movie. Stars John Saxon, who's the king of the B movies. I mean, he was at his height back then because he was in Black Christmas, and then he was in Enter the Dragon. So the 70s was a big time for him. Of course, he went on later to be in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. You also had one of the final roles of John Carradine. He was heavily impacted by arthritis. You can see in his fingers. I mean, his hands look terrible at this point in his life. He was very, very sick. He was so sick, in fact, that he couldn't get insurance to act in America. So and he got a shot to act in Mexico, and they didn't mind the fact there was no insurance coverage. So he did this film. Another Angel Tompkins, who was the female lead in this, and she was in a bunch of TV shows, and later on she was at opposite Charles Bronson in Murphy's Law. But she delivers the best line of the film. At the end, she says, we must listen. We must listen to the bees. And she does, and she delivers it without cracking a smile. Well, they probably had to film it 20 times to get it right, but it's just a ridiculous line. This is a tired and worn message movie about the fact of humans not respecting nature, respecting the environment, And as a result of that, we've got killer bees that have come to wreak vengeance. And the ending of the film quite explicitly makes that case, that if we don't take care of nature, it'll take care of us. Very, very kind of a worn out storyline as far as I'm concerned, but that's what it is. Anyway, I give this a 5 out of 10. I think the Blu-ray and the release by Vinegar Syndrome is excellent. It's probably a 7 out of 10 quality-wise, but the film is just a schlocky kind of. I mean, there's some entertaining parts, but it's not good. There is a funny. It's more funny than anything else. There's a great scene with a guy that's mimicking. It's a Jimmy Carter impersonator, and he's hilarious as the president. Anyway, so yeah, it's the bees. I would say it's a kind of a 5 out of 10 movie, but fun, cheesy watch. So with that, I wrap up the day, and I appreciate your watching, and I will be back soon. Thank you.